Ooh, check out this one. Good hips, good tits, good ass. Good profile, right? That's Black Widow. This is Ultimate Black Widow, who ended up killing people, killed Hawkeye's family, and Hawkeye retaliated by shooting her in the head. Well, he showed her, didn't he? If you like the Ultimates, you should check out those comic books. But out here to talk about that, this is my first True Force Loneliness Sunday edition. I'm not sure if I'll be doing these every week. I can't make promises I don't keep. But yeah, how about that? So, for these True Force Loneliness Sunday videos, I'm just going to talk different things, just going to ramble on, see how this works and not. Please leave a like, subscribe, whatever the fuck you do. I don't care. But I don't monetize these. They're not going to be monetized. So we're talking about, first off, Black Widow, and we'll talk about the female movies, then we'll talk about the male movies, and then we'll talk about exercise. So for Black Widow, the Scarlett Joe movie, Dreamcast 84, I don't want to embarrass you. He loves Scarlett Johansson, so I hope I'm not embarrassing you by saying that. But I mean, Scarlett Johansson's she's a very good action star, right there with Mila Jovovich and Charlize Theron. If you've seen Atomic Blonde, if you've seen, what is it, Lucy, and there's so many different, Ultraviolet, so many different movies, Resident Evil. Now, it's true the female movies don't do as well as male movies. But if you're going to see a female movie, you got to have a really good lead. Charlie's Angels doesn't do shit, okay? Charlie's Angels isn't going to do anything. But what you get for these kinds of movies, it's like we want to see an ideal female, lead who's going to really make us feel good. And late at night, if you get what I'm saying. So she has to be erotic. She has to be powerful. Women in general don't have upper body strength better than men, but they do have better legs and better kicking abilities. They're very good at tennis, because in tennis you have to move around a lot. You have to move side to side to side to side to side. They're good at swimming. They're good at kickboxing. And UFC, they're very good with some upper body strength. The women in UFC, I wouldn't, mess with, some of them. They're really good. Also, I'm being part misogynist and being part SJW, but you can't please everyone. And SJWs, they want to preach movies. I know Elizabeth Banks tried to do that with Charlie's Angels, but that didn't work out. So, Black Widow, having seen the trailer, looks really good. I'm very convinced by what I've seen. As a person who's lonely, that virtual girlfriend you can have in Scarlett Johansson's great for 2 hours. And it seems like she deserved this movie more than anyone else. I mean, like, forget Brie Larson, forget Kristen Stewart, forget Tessa Thompson, even though she's going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder along with Natalia Portman. It seems like this one really will work because we've been waiting for this since, I don't know, 2012, 2013. I mean, this movie should have come out right after Avengers, the very first Avengers movie. That's the right time for this movie. But the only real contender against Scarlett Johansson will be Wonder Woman Gal Gadot. Now, having seen just the 84 trailer, I felt that it was a little bit corny, a little bit silly, especially web swinging from lightning bolt to lightning bolt. The invisible jet looked good, and the trash can bit was funny a bit. I don't know. I don't know how well this is going to work. I'm a little bit worried about it. There were rumors of screenings being bad, first screenings not being very good. And then there were reports that Gal Gadot actually cried, having seen the entire movie. I guess she attended one of the screenings, a private screening, to see this. So I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But if anybody deserves to contend against the Black Widow, it's Wonder Woman. There's going to be a movie coming out in 2021. It's going to be Black Widow v. Wonder Woman: Dawn of Sexy Justice. That's the part where Scarlett Johansson says, "Do you bleed?" And Wonder Woman flies off. She says, "You will." So, anyway, but for us lonely guys, we never get the girls like this. We never get the girls like this. We always dream about girls like this. The lesson you have to learn. This comes out of I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Is that with Wonder Woman, it's like and Scarlett Johansson or Black Widow and ideal females. We want to get a woman that's as close to these kinds of women as possible. As Tom Likas once said, you can only get the women you can afford, and that's true. But I don't want women that look like dog shit, like they came off of iCupid or Twitter or Match.com. You see, though, you ever watch those Match commercials where everybody looks educated, like they live in high-rise apartments in Beverly Hills and Hollywood and Burbank, and they just look all pretty all the time? These are actors. Bullshit. These are actors. I'm telling you this. Even if they're just amateur actors who are just playing out a character ad lib, it's all acting. It's just nonsense because in real life you get whatever you get. You get the scraps, and that's how it goes. So as men, we can live out our fantasies, but these women are married. They have their own well-to-do lives, and it's better just to not. It's great to meet them in person, but it's just it's well enough to watch them in really good stories. So this has little to do with True Force Loneliness, but I'm excited if you're not for these two movies. Birds of Prey, not so much, but I'll give it a chance because the DC movies have been doing better, and I am looking forward to that Snyder cut if it ever does come out. I have taken the time to watch Batman v Superman. It's a lot of great scenes, but it feels like a jumbled mess. It's a bit messy. And the whole Elon Musk, Lex Luthor, Tommy Wiseau kind of thing, it's all right, but I may have to watch it again. I may have to watch the Ultimate Edition scenes. Now, going to the men movies, Casino Royale, not Casino Royale, but I think the latest No Time to Die trailer came out this week. And I don't know about you, but there were a couple of things that jerked me off in a bad way. First was the female 00 agent that's like trying to put James Bond in his place. That's very woke. Another one was the James Bond scene, where he talks to the guard. And it looks like it should be something else, but it's just off-putting because we know he says Bond, James Bond. But to me, it's like, I don't know about you, but I didn't feel like this movie, and also the motorcycle scene where James Bond goes up that motor, because that's an effect. It's an effect to where it's bullshit, really, but it's like, I understand there has to be some bullshitty CGI things in a realistic movie. Definitely the guns coming out of the headlights was real, and the cars spinning around like Batman. But I don't really care for James Bond. He doesn't, to me, he does not represent my ideal action hero. It's not really so, because James Bond has the sexy tuxedo, the cliches. He really is he panders to women audiences more than men, because women can love James Bond because he does all these classy, showboaty, high maintenance, rich boy, playboy kind of things, which kind of plays on women's wants and needs a lot. But he's not realistic. The Sean Connery, sometimes Roger Moore look, and maybe even, who was the last guy? The last guy before this one here, Daniel Craig. I'm forgetting his name now. It's shameful, isn't it? Because Rareware made a game about him on the Nintendo 64. But yeah, I mean, like, to me, he's just this classy guy. He's like Superman. He's not somebody to me that I can relate to. To me, it's all about Jason Bourne. The thing about Jason Bourne is that he is not like James Bond. He's different. Now, there are some CGI moments, I think, where they I don't know. There's very little CGI, actually. Because I think, especially with the graphics in the beginning and the ending of the movie, but there's not a lot of CGI to be seen. There's two different directors for like the trilogy. I know there was Jason Bourne, but I fucking hated that movie. I hated Jason Bourne, and I don't think I would care for the Bourne legacy with Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye. But this one, I mean, like with Bond versus Bourne, with James Bond, you have somebody who is debonair and classy, and like I said, it's the swagger that, like Han Solo. That's why Han Solo, women just like the guy being swagger and, ooh, I'm Han Solo, ooh, I'm James Bond. Like there's an algorithm to those similar characters. Jason Bourne, he can appeal to women, but he's way more rugged. This is a man who was James Bond, and he fell. He fell from grace. If James Bond, which was there was a 1950s show, I think, on James Bond TV show, but if James Bond represented the 1930s to 1950s ideals, and I think Robert Ludlum wrote him in the 60s, 70s, and that Jason Bourne is very different in the books. But if James Bond was the all-American super spy who got the job done, then Jason Bourne represents the 1970s, 1980s, like sort of the King, Kennedy's being shot, Watergate kind of character where who's in charge? Who do you trust? Who should you side with? And that I like this character because he's so gritty. He to me represents more literally the incel, the true forced loneliness person. Maybe he has a girlfriend, according to the first director, but for Paul Greengrass, his girlfriend's gone. Bones. Dr. Leonard McCoy shoots the Frankie's character, and now Jason Bourne's all by himself. He doesn't have anybody to love anymore. He tells her brother, and this is a guy who's also killed people when he was David Webb before he lost his identity. Just this trilogy alone to me is beautiful because it tells you everything and nothing about a man that you know nothing about, but it tells you everything that he goes through. We have done bad things. We may have broken the law in some severe ways and some not severe ways. We may have paid for them. We may have not. And we try to redeem ourselves. And at the end of this trilogy, he just fucks off, goes wherever he goes. Kind of like Cade Skywalker, which I'll do a Star Wars. I'm going to explain Batman v Superman. I'm going to explain the Star Wars legacy stories coming up probably the next week or two. And like Cade Skywalker, Jason Bourne doesn't have a specific thing he joins. He just does what he needs to do. But in this case, it's all about himself and no one else can go with him. There's no fancy tuxedos. There's no $1 million laser pen that he can take out of his ass and shoot Goldfinger with. It's him by himself. It's him all by himself. And it's like, I like that. I like a lot. It's just grim, gritty. And that fight with Joey Ansah in the Bourne Ultimatum, that to me is like the best fight. Even though there's styrofoam books and some cheats here and there, that fight is so fast, so quick, so rapid that they poorly duplicate this in some of the Liam Neeson movies. But in this one, it's really genuine. So that's something to behold. And the last things I want to show you is just how you get over depression by exercising. Now, I'll do a little bit of exercises for you to show you how you get around, how you get about. What you're seeing is my hand. You're seeing the rest of me here. I am on the floor, and I'll do a little bit of push-ups. I think I did this before. I'm doing this one-armed. That was tough. That's doing push-ups. You do sit-ups. And doing these exercises, however you do them. Okay, here's my feet down. You do some crunches, leg crunches. You do some head turns, different ways to do it. Okay? With your arms, you reach out, stretch out your arms as high as you can. So sit-ups. Oh, did I do sit-ups? I think I did sit-ups. Okay, so I did sit-ups, leg crunches, push-ups, arm stretches, head turns. Because you could lie. One of the things that's beneficial to doing head turns is that if you have a bad neck from lying poorly in bed, because you may have a shitty pillow, you may want to do head turns to correct your head and neck. Be very careful, though. You're going to get fucking dizzy if you do too many. So do maybe about 20 or 10 to 20. Maybe start off with 10 to 15 and then work up to 20 at a time and figure out how many you want to do at a time. So what else is next? We'll try the bike. I have a bike, exercise bike. The first True Force Loneliness video I did outside. You can gladly watch that. I'll put a link in the description somewhere. But you can see this bike here. This is a bike I keep my stuff on for some reason, but maybe hard to see. It's a little bit of exercise there. You can also do, let's see. These are here. Now what this is on the door is that I'm holding it here with my elbow, but you can also stretch your arms out. You can also, when you pull on it's a rubber band, it's a large rubber band, you can pull on this. I use the edge of a door, and you can stretch your arm out as long as you can. But the idea is to stretch your arm out. So make sure when you do that, you're staying always in one place, and you stretch that as hard as you can, as hard as you can. Okay. Then another one. So one knee is bent, and then do this for about a minute, and then if you get good at it, then you do it for about 2 minutes. Keep this leg straight, and then you alternate. Okay? Okay. It's real crazy. And then lastly, you keep your legs straight, and then for as long, like maybe about 5 minutes, and then see how, and keep your ankles tilted upward. So that's a little bit of exercise that you can do every day. You may want to try it. Whoa, hold on. Okay, I accidentally pressed the button there. So you may want to try this every day. I got a haircut recently. I do have a face. So that concludes True Force Loneliness Sunday, #1. I don't know how many I'll do. I can't guarantee shit. I mean, your comments and your likes and responding to me help the most. I'm not monetizing shit, so you don't want to see a fucking commercial before this video, do you? So take care of yourselves. Have a good week. Whether you're by yourself, it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be with someone, but be true to you.